Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ballet Rain.
So for the past 3 days or so, it has been sleeting rather severely.
The roads are ice.
It's very, very cold outside. So to remedy that, we've decided to do a warm, cozy video with you, and we've got our hot matcha tea. And we decided to pose as your two old aunts, sharing with you their life lessons that they've learned from classical ballet. Today we're going to be sharing with you some valuable life lessons that we've learned as classical ballet dancers. Things that ballet has taught us, things that stuck with us, both on and off stage.
So go get yourself a hot cup of tea and a cozy blanket, and while you're doing that, we wanted to say thank you for all the love and support that we've received from you guys. We really appreciate each and every one of you.
We read all your comments and your feedback.
Yes, we love reading your comments. They make us smile. To all of our new subscribers, we want to offer you a very warm welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We're really glad you're here. If you are a completely new viewer seeing our face for the first time, we also want to welcome you and invite you to join the family by pressing the subscribe button. And while you're down there, make sure you press the bell button as well so you don't miss out whenever we upload new videos. We post videos every Saturday, and we always look forward to having you here with us. Okay, so life lessons from ballet. Why don't you go first?
Okay. One of the things that I learned in ballet class, I learned so many. A big one. And I feel like this is the same whether you're a ballet dancer or a musician or you play a sport or you're really passionate about something. First thing that you're gonna learn probably is discipline. When you start out, it's ballet class, it's fun, you're twirling around with your little scarf, you're 5 years old, butterfly wings, all of that. And then when you start thinking, well, I want to look like the, professional dancers, and I want to get to where they are.
Yeah.
And then you start to notice, oh, this takes a lot of work. There are a lot of other areas of life that require that kind of discipline. And I think learning it at, 7, 8, 9, sometimes younger, I think that really benefits you going forward, wherever you should happen to go or wherever you happen to be.
And I know this is the case for my own personal life. I learned discipline from ballet class, but I realized, hey, I can actually use these skills in school. I can use this in my job, and I can use it pretty much everywhere. And so, yeah, I can definitely say that ballet had a huge part to play in teaching me to use and also to love discipline.
All right, I had my turn. Your turn.
One thing I really value learning from ballet class was the ability to work with other people.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm so grateful for the company that I was in because they really had good directors on the board. They encouraged us a lot to work corporately and to build up the company as a whole, not to just selfishly climb yourself to the top by means of pushing other people down and suppressing everybody else around you, but to really focus on the unity and working together to build up the
amoeba.
To serve the common goal together. That was really valuable.
It's a pattern in ballet too, because even if you just watch a performance, there are soloists,
right?
But the soloists would not be where they are if it were not for the core framing them, supporting them by the energy.
Another thing going along with that is being able to work under authorities, learning to take instruction from them and to honor them and respect them in that way. I think it's really valuable to have learned that young.
Going along that train of thought in terms of working with a teacher, I also learned for a teacher-student relationship how important the mutual respect needs to be, because I had a lot of teachers that I really respected and a lot of teachers that I looked up to, and I always wondered, how are they so well respected by not just me, but the whole class really respects this teacher? And I realized it's because they treat their students with so much respect and they give instruction in a very kind, very understanding way. I think that's a very important point to take into consideration, especially when it comes to leading people.
I have a lesson that took me a very long time and was very painful to learn.
Oh no.
I bet you can guess. Can you guess?
I don't want to embarrass myself on camera. What if I don't know? Oh, I know what it is. No heroics.
Pretty much. So I had this problem.
She had a problem.
Where I didn't know my own boundaries, and when I met those boundaries head to head, I didn't respect them. I pushed right past them and made things worse. So, example, if I had an injury, I would totally ignore it. Just completely dance full out, disrespect it, disregard it, and guess what happened? It made it worse. I was just young and being ambitious and wanted to do well, but didn't know exactly how to go about it, and that certainly wasn't it. I ended up hurting myself a lot more than actually building myself up by doing that. And I think it's just because I didn't trust that rest and recovering would actually help. I had it in my head that work equals results, and it does. Still a valid philosophy, but injuries take time to heal, and injuries potentially can set you backwards if you don't address it. And I think that is important for dancers to learn their body's cues, like know when it's time to stop, know when it's time to rest and recover, and take measures accordingly, because it actually does help you to go forward if you address it properly.
I think definitely an important part of ballet that I'm sure all dancers can agree with me, the art of taking correction.
Oh, yes.
Because as a dancer, in class and in rehearsal, your teacher is there to tell you what you're doing wrong, essentially, and to help you fix it. So as a dancer, I used to get tons and tons and tons of corrections every class.
Point your feet, shoulders down, lift your chin, turn out, turn out, turn out, turn out.
It's part of life as a dancer, and it's also
absolutely.
part of life in lots of other areas. As a little dancer, you already start learning, you already start getting corrections from your teacher. You know, you get point your feet, make sure that you're standing up straight, stay in line, don't talk in class. You're always getting corrections, whether they be on your technique or in your conduct. Dance life is full of corrections. I think what's very important about the act of taking correction and why it's so important that children and students and even adults learn it is because when you take correction, you're cultivating humility. Because you're saying, I'm not too good for anyone to say anything. You're admitting, I'm not perfect and I still need improvement and I still want to improve. And I respect you enough to take what you're saying and apply it. And so that humility is your access point to improvement. It opens the door for you to go further than you were before. It's very easy to get discouraged.
Absolutely.
And it's really easy to think when you get corrected that your teacher is telling you that you're doing a bad job. But that is not the case, and it's very important to remember always that it's not the case. So taking your corrections positively and thinking, my teacher sees potential in me, and my teacher wants me to do well. So remembering that is going to really help your relationship with your teacher. It's going to help
your relationship with yourself.
Yeah, in the long run, it's going to help you implement your corrections faster, improve faster, and make everyone happy. It's a win-win.
Another one I learned from ballet, not just ballet, but from other dance styles as well, contemporary and modern and tap dancing, was to get out of my comfort zone. There's a lot of times where in ballet you have to play a character that is very different from your own natural tendencies. And there's a lot of times in contemporary work where you're doing movements that you've never done before. I was a classically trained ballet dancer for a lot of my life, and when I got into like the intermediate levels, I started picking up a few other different styles of dance as well. And that really had to push me out of my comfort zone, learning to not just be in 5 positions only and not have specific places for my arms. It was very different and it was scary at first. What I learned from that is that I have an ability to adapt, and I have the ability to learn something new and to try something else, and I think that was really freeing. And I think that thing alone, learning other styles of dance, playing different characters in the ballet that were very outside of my natural character, it really helped me a lot to discover that I can be more than just one way. I learned that there's a lot of different sides to my personality, and there's a lot of different sides to my skill set. And I learned that your skill set isn't just your set measure of talent that you have. You can expand it. I think it really helped me to grow as an artist and also as a person.
Another thing ballet taught me, this is kind of silly, it's not deep like the other ones, but it taught me how much I love classical music.
That's a good one.
We got introduced to, you know, the Nutcracker, Swan Lake, the
Like
basics. And then from there we had a teacher that really encouraged us to branch out into our classical music vocab. And so we went down this rabbit hole.
It was an endless one. We're still in the rabbit hole.
We're still in the rabbit hole. We never left the rabbit hole.
We're not even trying to get out of the rabbit hole.
There's so much good music out there. Also, classical ballet is so dependent on classical music. If you didn't have music, you wouldn't have the dance. I would say classical ballet is one with the music, and it's so important as a dancer to appreciate the music you're dancing to. Ballet definitely did that for me. That was something that I really appreciate, and I still love to this day. You can still see me jamming out to Tchaikovsky. Honestly though, who is out driving in this weather? Kids these days.
Here's another one. Independence. As a kid growing up in ballet, you have to learn to be independent pretty quick, I feel like. Of course, you're always having supervision. You have teachers, you have your parents. The lady at the front desk is always reliable. She's always there.
The lady at the front desk has always got your back. I don't know why.
You need a cold compress, she's there. You need a band-aid, she's there. You need to call your mom, she's there. But I feel like as a dancer, you had to learn how to be independent pretty early on. We had to learn how to do our hair when we were 7 or 8 years old because we had ballet class that day. We had to learn how to get dressed and make sure we had all of our stuff for class. We had to get our shoes, our skirts, everything that we needed in order and ready to go. So if you had a show, you had to be responsible. Our teachers taught us young, make sure you have your costume, make sure you have your hairpiece, make sure you have your shoes. And you had to be responsible for all of those items. And when we got to the theater, you had to make sure you could do your own makeup. Of course, our parents could come backstage and help us when we were young, but as you get a little older, you're expected to be able to get your own makeup on, make sure you show up in the auditorium for open stage on time, and just being able to keep track of all of your belongings, especially in the theater where there's a lot of dark corridors and a lot of different places to lose things, including yourself.
I've lost a lot of things in theaters by accident.
I've gotten lost backstage. It trains you to be a responsible person, and it trains you to always be thinking of not just yourself, but everything that is connected to you and everything that is required for your job. So yeah, responsibility and independence. That was a huge life lesson that we had to learn very young.
Another important side of ballet that doesn't get addressed a lot, but it's a very, very imperative lesson. You have all the good ones, I have all the hard ones. But they're very hard life lessons, but they're very good life lessons. So I guess I'm gonna share them anyway. And that is dealing with conflict. It is inevitable. If you're working in a group, there is gonna be some kind of conflict. When you are a young student, the goal is to be in a professional company. So you're trained from a young age, your goal is to act professional. So you'll have these 13, 15-year-olds. They'll be, your usual drama. But when you're a dancer, you're trained, listen, you gotta put on your professionalism and you gotta dance with the people that you might not click with. You might have to work with a choreographer when you don't really like their style. You might not get the role that you wanted. You might have to understudy when you wanted to be in the piece. You might have teachers that might have a bad day. You might have people that are rubbing you the wrong way. Growing up, I had to learn to conduct myself well regardless of what's going on around me. And if I did have a problem with anybody, whether it be a teacher or a fellow student, to address it in a very non-confrontational way. And if I had anything to dispute, to voice it gently. Yeah, I'd say that's another lesson that I learned from ballet.
It's a tough lesson, but it's a good one.
I took a little longer to learn it than I should have.
Another one that ballet taught me is to have a sense of humor. I never considered myself as a very funny person, especially when I was younger. But I think that in order to do the job that we have to do as dancers, that requires so much mental strength, and that's so difficult, and where there's so much room for error and you can never really truly master it, you need to have a sense of humor. Ballet has taught me to be able to laugh at myself. There are so many times where you're going to mess up, whether it be in your classes or on stage. Believe me, I've done both many times.
Comment if you want a video about all our embarrassing ballet stories.
Don't ask them that. They're gonna say go for it.
Listen, if this video gets 1,000 likes.
Okay, if we get this video to 1,000 likes, we will share our most embarrassing stories with you. But anyway, back to the topic. Being able to not take yourself that seriously, being able to laugh at yourself is really what's going to give you the advantage. Because if you beat yourself up for every time that you mess up, for every time that you fall down, for any time you have a little malfunction, it's gonna be a sad life because we're humans and we make mistakes, and we just have to learn that that's okay. We're supposed to make mistakes and we're going to have a lot of them, and so the more you can just embrace it and roll with it, it's going to alleviate the pressure that you put on yourself for one, and also just make your journey as a dancer and your journey as a human being much more enjoyable.
So those were some of the life lessons that we've learned from ballet class, and obviously that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are many, 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 many more. We hope you enjoyed this video, and again, this is just our experience. This is things that we've learned. We'd love to hear what you've learned from your journey in ballet.
If you like this video, make sure you press the like button and comment below your top things that ballet has taught you.
Make sure you subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and feel free to share this video. I think that's all from us for now. This is Ballet Rain signing off. Until the next video.
Bye!